All right, so today's segment will actually be one of many segments on the topic of finance. If you're like me, I think romance and finance seem to be sometimes at least my biggest challenges in life that I've learned or have been taught the biggest lessons. So with that said, a little bit on finance and some of the things that I've learned, once again, from others. First and foremost, it's looking at finance and making money is not, for some reason, society, it's almost like taboo to talk about. It's almost like we have to show these extreme characteristics or values of humility around money and how it's not important or we don't value it. I don't know, maybe that's just my perception, or at least that's what I was brought up believing, where wealthy people, as far as how my mom viewed them, they were like, I don't know, there was something wrong about it. If they drove a nice car, I remember with my mom as a young kid, would like scoff at them. Oh, I can't believe they're driving that. That's just disgusting. And so as a kid, I had this like perception of those with money as like, they're just, I don't know, portrayed to me as bad. In fact, even 90% of the movies and TV shows that we watch today, it's the bad rich guy, he's like, the man and trying to squash everyone else. And, just once again, that's my perception, but I've changed my perception. I was brought up as a kid, as most of us usually are, with kind of picking up and adopting the ideas and beliefs of our parents. And, I watched my parents and I watched, my father at one time, had found some financial success and then lost everything. And then I also saw my mom, for whatever reason, challenged with finances her entire life, and also enrolled me and my brother sort of in these limiting beliefs and or looking at those that had financial wealth as kind of like the bad guys. And as a little kid, I took that in, and it was like that became an internal belief that those with financial success it was for those rich people. Those, in my days back in the 80s, it was the preppies. Those preps, they're so full of themselves, wearing all those labeled brand clothes. And, I was just like, I was almost proud that I was kind of on the wrong side of the tracks, that I was like kind of this poor kid, and created an identity around that. And as I grew up and started wanting things, usually pursued by wanting to take girls out on dates, have a couple bucks to do so, I started having this drive that I wanted to, well, wait a second, I don't really like being poor. I don't like having no money. This sucks. I'm stressed. I'm struggling. I'm really envious of looking at all those other people do things that I kind of want to do. But I don't deserve it, or it's wrong. And I had to break that belief. And that's the biggest message here with this video is break that belief. I'm a strong believer, and viewers don't need to be, in God, in a loving God, in a universe, law of attraction, all the above. I'm very much of a New Age thinker, and I believe God wants us to have abundance. From what I understand, the Bible talks about it, like that, to have us become the best versions of ourselves. And that includes, for me, I like finances. I like having security of money. It makes me feel good. I like providing for my kids. I like providing for my wife. I like donating money to charity. I like supporting others. I like being, helping hand to other people. That feels good, and that does come with money. I heard one of my great coaches, Mike Ferry, my real estate coach, say to me, he says, life's tough. It's tougher without money, And it's funny, it is. It's, we can create so many things for ourselves and our loved ones if we are able to achieve some financial success, and it doesn't have to be taboo. Once again, I had to shatter that perception that it couldn't be something for me. I could go out there and achieve. And I learned this, by the way, from others. There was a number of great books that I read around money, and I still do. But the first book that I got around money, as many have read, it's the iconic Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a masterpiece. It's a must. That's like everyone, I think almost every successful person has started off with that self-help book on finance. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another book that was given to me because I was just starting off in sales was called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And it's phenomenal. It had you read these scrolls 3 times a day. And scroll 1 was about working hard, about being the first guy in the office and the last guy to leave, to put in the work, to put in the action, and to help others, by the way, to be of service, to come from a place in your heart to help others. I'm speaking maybe more direct to that salesperson, viewer that's watching, but it doesn't matter if you're in sales or not. It's about believing in yourself, putting in the action, not just, I don't just wait around and wait for money to come, the law of attraction. It's about putting in that action steps to create it. And one of the things, and there's so much around this topic of finance that I'll go into in many of these different segments, on different days. But one of the things that Og Mandino suggested was write down a dollar amount, a goal that you hope that you want to earn per year. And make it uncomfortable. Write down such a big number that you're just like, oh my God, if that were to happen, like my mind would be blown. There's no way that'll happen, but if it did, what would that dollar amount be? And I remember my favorite number is 8. And I remember writing down 88,000 a year. If I made 88,000 a year, oh my God. At the time, I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Venice Beach, California, and there was 3 of us, my girlfriend Monica, and I forget our roommate's name, and we actually literally had a sheet that divided up the living room for us to share our space. Our roommate had the bedroom. Our living room, half the living room was our bedroom where we had our mattress on the floor. Our total rent was $895 per month, and I could barely afford my third of that rent. So the idea of making $88,000 a year was like, that's for those rich people. I'll never be able to accomplish that. But you know what? I'm going to take on this challenge. I'm going to read these scrolls every single day by Og Mandino. I'm going to chant them. I'm going to just ingrain them in me that, who knows, maybe this might work. Well, fast forward years later, I pulled that book out amongst my whole library of books that I've read, and I opened up that passage in the back where it said, write down a dollar amount. And I looked at it and I choked up and got chills. Cause like, oh my God, I make this per month. Like, my mind blew, like how this stuff works. This crazy stuff that we hear, this crazy stuff that I'm spewing, that I've learned from others, there's sometimes something magical around this stuff that we learn from other people as far as how to create the life of our dreams. So it's not just what I'm trying to teach you. Listen to the others, like the great mentors that are out there, again, on money or spirituality or whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life. Follow the path that others have given us and do those exercises. There's something magical around it. Do those affirmations. And also, as Og Mandino talked about, put in the action, put in the work. Be the guy that's willing to do what others won't in order to achieve what others won't. And I think that was from Mike Ferry that I learned that. Do what others won't to achieve what others won't. Put in the hours, work hard diligently, and then you come to a place that you just look at your life and go, oh my God, like that Talking Heads song, like how did I get here? How did this happen? But it did. One last thing I'll leave you with as far as another book that I read called The Richest Man in Babylon. And just the footnote version of the book was, the whole moral of the story was, create enough gold in your purse or in your pocket. Create a savings account, whatever that is. Start creating money that you don't have to go out and spend. Be a little frugal. I sometimes still am frugal, but I was insanely frugal at the beginning of trying to build wealth. And I watched every penny that I spent. As my accountant says, watch the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. So with this book, Richest Man in Babylon, start accumulating any amount of money that you can and save it. put money aside, because that money starts building upon itself. You start feeling confident in the world. You start feeling like, like silly, but I can see, whatever car drive on the road. And I go, you know what? If I wanted to, I could buy that Ferrari. I could buy that Lamborghini. I could buy whatever that car is. And I remember my wife and I were walking, and we had a place in Fiji, and I was looking at all these yachts, and I'm like, God, that'd be so cool to own one of those yachts. And she's like, babe, you can afford one. And I went, oh my God, that's right, I can, but I'm not going to buy a boat. But it's that feeling of wealth that starts attracting more wealth, and that comes from a feeling of security. So start building small pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, dollars. Start building up some financial security. You're going to feel great about yourself. You're going to feel confident. It's going to make you walk taller and stronger. And then, shockingly, it's like magic. You start attracting more wealth into your life. So I hope that this segment was informative. Now, guys, clearly finance is a big topic. I mean, there's a lot of big topics against romance and finance, spirituality, health, etc. So I can't knock it out of the park all in a 10-minute segment. There's so much around this topic that I plan to go into depth. There's so many things around accumulating money that I plan on, addressing in future segments. So stay tuned for those. I really do believe I'll be able to share some good information for you, which I guess would perhaps entice you to subscribe to the channel or do whatever you need to do to make sure that you see future segments on the topic. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day.